Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Love is Under Construction. It's your boy, Kev.
And your girl Lena.
And today we are going to be talking about a topic that's been on the rise lately, and that is
Transgenders and relationships. According to NewYorkTimes.com, about an estimated 1.4 million adults in America are actually transgender. Did you know that?
nah, I didn't. That's crazy.
Yes, that's a huge population.
I don't think I know any transgender. Do you know any?
Yes, I actually know too.
All right, what I would like to know is, and I'm sure there are other men that have the same question, would it make me gay if I had sex with a transgender woman? Or because biologically that's a man, but
Right.
they had the surgery and now they're a woman. So would that make me gay?
No, because you're attracted to women physically. Physically, they're a woman. You don't know what their DNA makeup is. So I don't feel it would make whether it's men or women gay if it's someone you're attracted to and in your eyes, that's the opposite sex. You don't know.
But what if I don't know? Like, what if I didn't know that it was a transgender woman and I found out that it was? I would start to question my sexuality.
I don't think anyone should question their sexuality for the simple fact if the person is portrayed as the sex that you're attracted to, how would you know? That's like if I was dealing with a transgender man. They have all the qualities I like, they're attractive to me physically. How am I supposed to know that they are, in fact, transgender if they didn't tell me or the question is not asked? Me personally, I feel just as it's a law for those who have STIs to disclose that information to their partners,
Mm,
I feel as if the same should apply
definitely.
for those of the transgender community, because it's many of us out here who have strong religious beliefs, and it's not fair to us to be dealing with someone of the transgender and we have no idea.
I want to be in control of the situation. I want to have a say in it. If
Exactly.
if I'm with you and you're a transgender woman and I don't know, I feel like you're taking advantage of me.
Right. Evidently, you're robbing someone of that choice. So, would you date a transgender woman?
No,
Why is that?
because they're not biologically a woman.
Okay. Right. And you want kids. So,
Right.
and you want the woman you're with to be able to carry
Hmm.
those kids. And okay, I respect it. And I definitely feel the same way. I wouldn't want to date a transgender man. I want 100% man. I need those chromosomes to say man.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I agree.
So can a transgender woman have kids?
That's a great question. And to be honest, to my knowledge, I don't believe a transgender woman can have kids.
So would that make her a woman? Technically, would that make her a woman? Physically, she may look like a woman, but is that really a woman if she can't have kids?
Well, you can't say that because there are women who are born women and can't have kids for whatever reason.
Right.
That doesn't
That's
make them less of a woman.
that's different though.
I don't necessarily see how it would be possible for a transgender woman to have kids because, again, it's in our DNA as women to have kids. And if you're not biologically, like you were speaking, a woman, you won't be able to carry.
So a transgender man also wouldn't be able to impregnate a woman
No,
because they don't have sperm, right?
exactly. But a transgender man, I'm sure it's possible for him to get pregnant.
I think it was a story about. I seen a
Mm-hmm.
story or something about that.
Yep.
Like the first transgender man to get pregnant.
Yes.
So transgender men was born a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And women have periods.
Right.
So how does that work with the transgender man? Do they take birth control or something? Do they still bleed? Like, where does that blood go? Because it's not exiting the body.
As far as that, I'm sure there's hormones that they take, or during the surgical process, the doctors does something within their body, so they don't have the menstrual cycle anymore, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, that would make sense for the doctor to take care of all of that
Right.
or prescribe something or something like that.
Exactly.
If a transgender woman deals with a man, would she be considered heterosexual or gay and vice versa? I'm just confused. That just confuses me.
That's a great question.
A transgender woman
Right.
was once a man.
Exactly.
So if that man deals with another man, would that make him gay?
Well,
Or
it goes back to what I was saying. You have to look at the whole idea now that they are no longer considered what they were born, but they are now considered man or woman.
So that transgender woman would be
heterosexual.
Right.
Okay. Heterosexual.
So transgender men, before they have the surgery, they obviously have a clitoris.
A vagina?
No, a clitoris. Clitoris.
Transgender man, you forget.
Before they have the surgery.
Woman to man.
Right. So starting off as a woman, they have a clit.
Exactly. Don't forget the vagina, though.
Right. But I said that for a reason.
Okay.
How would they get pleasure? Like, how do they form a penis and they be able to feel anything during a sexual encounter?
Okay, so I feel like I'm going to have to direct you to some websites and some videos for you to watch. Me personally, I have saw a sex change and it was very, very, very interesting of a transgender woman.
I seen a video too, I think on Facebook or something. It was like the surgical procedure.
Right.
It was animated, but it was just interesting to see.
No, I saw an actual real life procedure.
You
was
were in a room when it happened?
No, I mean on video. It was online. Someone sent it to me.
Wow. I would love to see that. Where is that at?
I would definitely give you access to that.
So a transgender man, I'm just confused. How do they urinate? Does the urine travel through the fake penis or?
Yes, just as it would for a regular man. How do you feel as far as transgenders and the bathroom goes in public? Do you think they should use the restrooms of what they are biologically or the restrooms that they feel they are associated with as far as the transition goes?
That's crazy. I honestly don't know. Wasn't it a law passed or something down south or somewhere? They were trying to get a law passed to where they could use, like, a transgender man would be able to use the men's bathroom and a transgender woman would be able to use the woman's bathroom.
I'm sure. I'm sure it was. But I also know that in certain places there also are separate bathrooms for transgenders.
Right. I was going to say they should.
Which I feel is a little, I don't think that, me personally, I don't want to feel like if I was a transgender, I wouldn't want to feel like I'm just of a different species. I don't think they should have a different bathroom for that. And I actually have a story about that.
All right, before your story, I feel like they should have their own bathroom because you got to look at it from the perspective of kids.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a child, I'm not going to feel comfortable with my child in the bathroom with a transgender.
But again, how are you going to know that's a transgender?
I won't know.
Exactly.
But I won't feel comfortable with my child in the bathroom with a transgender.
But you're not going to know that. So you have no way of saying that you're not going to feel comfortable if you don't even know if this person is transgender.
That brings me to my point of saying they should have their own bathroom. So they could just go into their designated bathroom and I won't have that issue. I won't have to worry about that.
Well, to each his own.
All right, so go ahead with your story.
A former job that I was working at, there was this transgender woman. She was really cool. Dope female. And
transgender woman. So it was a man.
Yes. Man transitioning into a woman. Now he was fully transitioned and all of that.
Was she beautiful? Was she attractive? Or
she was okay.
Could you tell that?
You could tell. Facial features, you could definitely tell. But from behind, of course, you wouldn't be able to tell.
So,
or if you wasn't looking at her face, you wouldn't be able to tell.
She had a fatty.
Oh my goodness. She had a nice body.
Okay.
Very nice body. But in the first few weeks of my training period, she would go into the bathroom and a lot of the other women that were in my training class wasn't comfortable with her in there. Mm. And actually, one of the females, she was complaining about the fact that the woman was using the bathroom. And I explained to this individual that this person identifies as a woman, so it's her right to use the bathroom with us other women. And she really didn't care. Her whole thought process was she didn't know if she was fully transitioned.
Right.
Which I understood because you're not going to ask the person to see their genitals.
So how was this situation handled? Was it a supervisor involved?
Yes, it definitely was a supervisor involved. But what bothered me is that it had to go to those lengths, for that person to be comfortable. And at the end of the day, I get that, but we're all human. She has feelings just as the other individual who had a problem with it has feelings.
Right. Well, if anything, I would just try to avoid being in the bathroom at the same time as that person if I really had a issue with it.
Exactly.
But then that goes back to my previous point that if they had their own bathroom,
it shouldn't matter. Really. I just feel like it shouldn't matter. And the solution to that was she was actually fully transitioned, so she was able to use the women's restroom. Now, had she not been, they wouldn't have allowed it. She had paperwork and proof of all that, that she was in transition.
She had the paperwork with her, or she had to bring it in?
She had to give it to the supervisors, human resources of that confidential information.
Like the medical records.
Exactly, all those things to prove that she's a woman. But if she wasn't fully transitioned, she would have had to use the man's restroom.
That would just make me that whole thing would just make me uncomfortable.
And I get that, like I said, to each his own, but we have to be mindful that whether we're born a man or woman or we're in transition, guess what? We're still human and we still have feelings and we still have to treat everyone the same.
That I'm glad you just brought up. Well, since we're on the topic of dealing with the workplace aspect of it, I wouldn't have a problem working with a transgender person. Right. I feel like they should be able to get any job just like a heterosexual person. They shouldn't be discriminated against.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought up that point because it bothered me when Trump changed the whole law that transgenders
that was crazy.
Cannot serve in the military.
Why would it matter? If you're serving the country, if you're protecting the people, it shouldn't matter what you are.
Well, to my knowledge, I guess the issue with that was the fact that they may need certain accommodations he didn't want it to conflict with their work. And evidently, they're focused on serving our country and protecting us.
Is it that serious, though?
I guess to Donald Trump it is. If they're doing just as damn good of a job as a person who is biologically man or woman, it shouldn't matter. Because to me, when you think about it, that is discrimination. And discrimination in the workplace is illegal.
I never thought about it like that. You're right.
And I would like to add to the transgender community, I love you guys just as much as I love anybody else. I have family who's transgender, and there's people who I've dealt with in the past that were transgender, and they're awesome. They're no different than anybody else.
When you say dealt with, you mean intimate with, or you interacted with?
Not intimately, interacted with as friends, yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with transgender people. And from a religious view, I may not agree with it, but I'm not going to treat them any differently.
Absolutely. And I think we all have to remember to stand together because there's too much going on in this. There's too much going on in this world as it is.
If we have any transgender listeners, please don't hesitate to message us, inbox us, DM us, and
leave comments.
Yeah, we can have a conversation. We have questions. If you have answers, we would love to hear those.
All right, guys. So you know what time it is. Apparently, yesterday, August 15th, a violent video has surfaced from China of a group of men beating a transgender woman who tricked their friends into an encounter. So I'm assuming the individual was upset at the fact she did not disclose her being transgender. Now, this goes back to the conversation we were having previously about transgenders, not coming clean about the fact that they're transgender. I'm all for a person feeling how they want to feel and having a right to be upset at that information not being disclosed, because I would be upset too. But what I don't find okay is not just 1, 2, 3, but multiple men committing acts of violence, physical harm against another human being because of something like that. I don't condone violence, whether it's this situation or other situations. I do not condone violence, and it's never okay. And to make matters even worse, I'm assuming because of the fact it's China, these men are free. And evidently, no fear of prosecution. And I'm almost certain that they won't be prosecuted. And for me, the situation hit home because, again, I have a family member that is of the transgender community. And if this happened to him, I would be devastated. I would be livid. And I would be seeking justice. So men, whoever you are in China, you are so lucky you are not in the United States, because you would be in jail, or even worse, because of your acts of hatred. So men in China as a whole, you need to stop. All right, guys, that's all we have for this episode of Love is Under Construction. We hope you enjoyed. It's your girl, Lena.
And your boy, Kev. And don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel at Love is Under Construction.
Thank you for listening.